And we're live. Welcome to this day 30 of the 90-day run social media that we have been hosting since January 4th. And I hope that you're taking advantage of these gold nuggets that we are sharing with you. Oops, maybe I should bring my microphone a little closer. That's probably better. So much is going on. I believe you. My mind is just going 100 miles an hour. So this is day 30. And what's really important here is over and above everything that you are learning. And folks, listen, I know that sometimes it may seem overwhelming, and that's okay. Give yourself permission to let go of the negativity and the situation that may come across as you are learning. Because I know the first time that we go through, new technology, new habits, it's not always easy, right? But as you keep doing things, as you keep applying yourself, what you will find is it becomes easier and easier, and then it becomes a habit. And when it becomes a habit, that's when the results start showing when it's repetitive. Now, today, what we want to talk to you about is conversion. That's really what's going on. That's day 30. And let me share with you something. I don't usually do this, but let me share with you a little bit of what's going on. Just so you can see, this is how I work. This is how I take my notes, right? These are all the sessions that we started since January 4th, I think we started, right? That was day one that we started. Okay, so now we're on day 30. And this is how I take my notes, just for your information. I listen to the session, I take a little bit of clip, I take my notes over here, and then from there, the image helps me with the context. I just thought of sharing that little bit of knowledge so you understand how I actually do work. So right now, what's really important is for you to understand the principles of facilitating the conversion when you're talking to either a prospect for the business or even the products. One thing that's very important, as Frazer, or I should say Anne, and Dr. James and Webmaster and my wife Tammy and I, as we keep sharing information with you, understand that something that's very important that I know matters to me, and I'm sure it would matters to you, is to ask yourself, what is your obsession? What are you obsessed about? And I'm not talking about just money here. Remember, money is a tool. It's what money can do for you. That is the real the real elements, right? The things that will actually make a difference. What you really care about. The money is just a byproduct to what you actually want. So that's why I want to be specific is what are you obsessed about? And what's important here is that tell about this obsession, right? Communicate it through lives, through reels, through videos that you can do a live a little after. I mean, there's so many ways to go about this, but tell everyone about your obsession and why it matters to you. And what you will find is by doing this, you will build your brand. And this is what's going on is it builds your brand as people keep hearing you sharing what you are obsessed about, if you understand my meaning. So the goal today here is really to understand what is the gap. What do I mean by the gap, right? It's really the goal, the action, and the people. In other words, when you're talking to someone, what's the gap from where they are now to where they want to be? And in the conversation, that's what I'm going to talk about. That's really, really important, right? Are you able to understand where they are now? Because that's really important. As you start understanding, welcome folks. Right now I'm seeing Facebook users. So feel free to click on ecam.com/connect. And when you do that, it will give the permission for you to be able to see your information to come through Ecamm. Otherwise, right now I see Facebook user, tell people about your obsession. Absolutely done on. Max Morning. I really appreciate you. Thank you for participating. So the fact is that you need to be able to understand where the people are right now. And what you find is as you start understanding where they are and what they need to do to get to where they want to be, you'll find that your ratio of success will increase by about 300%. And I agree with that 100%. Because one of the things that I do, and I have been bringing people to the business for years. And one of the things that I find as, like in some case, I do a presentation one time with a person. And after this presentation, I'm able to sign him up. Why is that? Because in the course of that presentation, I understood where they were. I understand where they want to be. And what I did is in a line of my presentation, I was actually filling in the gaps that are actually answering the questions that they have that are gapping the stages in a step that they need to do and they need to understand to get to their goal. And when you do that, I'm telling you, it becomes a lot easier to get people on board. And that's really what the session is all about here today. See, what's happening is most people are not trying to understand where they are, but they're just trying to fill in the gap with what matters to them instead of filling in the gap with what matters to the prospects. And when I say them, let me rephrase that to make sure I'm very clear. I'm the presenter, right? And let's say I'm an unexperienced presenter, and I'm trying to present to someone else. And I have a certain agenda. And my agenda is tend to be what I'm using to fill the gap that the person have from where they are to where they want to be. Do I make sense? Instead of understanding where their gap is, where they are from where they are now to where they want to be, understanding what matters to them. And when you tailor that presentation in that fashion, you will find that by the end of the presentation, they're almost eating in the palm of your hand. That's the difference between a strong closer and a person that doesn't seem to convert ever. Okay? For example, just recently, I had the pleasure to enroll my banker, not my banker, my accounting firm, not my accountant, my accounting firm, the owner. I was introduced to him by the accountant that I'm working with, and I had the pleasure and the honor to actually present to him. And by the time the presentation was done, he was ready to sign up on the spot. And his comment was, "That was easy." And my answer to him, well, it's not that it was easy, is I think I was able to fulfill really the questions you had. And obviously you were satisfied with the answers and the information I provided that made a lot of sense to you. And that's the reason why you chose. He says, I agree. So again, it's to underline my reasoning why I'm telling you this, because this is really, really important, right? So for example, if let's say someone is making $600 a month, if I may speak in dollars, because I know in Ghana cities is right now times 12 point something, and CFA it's probably times 600. I'm in shilling. I don't know what it is in the Philippines. It's time 49 or 50, whatever the currency is. So keep that in mind. So let's just say the person wants to make is making right now $600, and they want to make $6,000 a month. Well, this is the gap difference. This is the gap difference. And I'll get to the questions in a minute here. That's part of your game plan here, part of your assignment. Okay. So part of your dare, like Frazer talks about. So the fact is, these are the 4 questions that I highly recommend that you learn to master. Okay. Question number 1. Where are you now? So John, listen, based on what you've done and you know what you're trying to accomplish, where are you right now in wanting to reach your goal? Where are you? And let them answer. Sometimes I find that people are nervous as they are presenting, and they don't give the prospect a chance to express themselves and to give them a chance to communicate what matters to them. And often the unexperienced presenter tend to want to follow their agenda, money, sign up so I can get my commission, that a lot of time comes across and your prospect doesn't really relate, doesn't get comfortable. And even though you may do a great presentation, but you didn't pay the chance, you didn't give it the time to answer, where are they now? So we need to establish from here to here, well, where is here? Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Where are you? So where are you now? It's important. So it's just an example of how to phrase it. Question number 2 is, where do you want to be? For example, if you look at the presentation that we do with Max International, right? We have the senior associate, bronze. That's our core rank. That is one of the most important rank, because if everybody reaches the bronze, then that chain reaction keeps creating blocks, right, of 4,000 CV. You understand? You need 2,000 you left, 2,000 you right. I'm talking for folks to understand what we're dealing with the comp plan here. That's your core rank. Now, if you're a bronze and I've been struck for a bronze for someone, I want to become a gold associate. I'd love to become a diamond. So the fact here is, well, there's steps in between that. You know, some people are complaining, well, you can't get crowned, you can't get crowned. Well, maybe because it's the way you go about doing things. Maybe it's the way it's the way you are sharing the opportunity. Instead of focusing and climbing Mount Everest, why don't we just focus on climbing that one hill? Focused on that. And from there, close the gap as to what do you need to understand based on where do you want to be, first of all, in this particular question. So question number 2, where do you want to be? So give them a chance to answer. Don't interrupt. Don't try to pitch in and trying to tell them what they should want. Let them answer that. Maybe it's, remember, if we're talking about someone who's not in max, it's not about ranks. They don't know what rank means at the moment. I just want to make this kind of money to be able to do these things. You know that based on what they're asking, that you know that it's about that rank. So you may turn around and say, oh, okay, well, that's this particular rank. So this is what we need to do. Right. The third question is, okay, what have you done so far? What have you done so far to reach this? So, for example, someone wants to be able to move into this particular home, or someone wants to be able to have that much money in a bank account, or someone would like to have their debts paid for. Someone would, whatever the situation may be, is, okay, what have you done so far to reach this goal? And you know why this is important? Because what you're about to present might be the solution. But before they're receptive on this being the solution, you need to understand where they are. You know, there's a saying, and I use that often: seek to understand and then be understood. And unfortunately, we live in a world that the opposite occurs. They want to be understood first, and then I'll try to understand. And that's usually the reason why there's conflicts and issues and problems. Seek to understand first. When you're doing a presentation, try to understand where the person is. So in other words, what have you done so far? Well, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, and none of these things worked. Okay, cool. Question number 4. Are you open to a solution I may have that can help you get there? So these are the 4 questions. Number 1, where are you now? Number 2, where do you want to be? Number 3, what have you done so far to go to where you want to be? Number 4 is, are you open to what I have to offer to help you get there? Hey, Irene, I see you. You probably clicked the link. Beautiful. I appreciate you. And by the way, I love your video. Keep doing your Instagrams and your TikTok. I'm watching you. I'm paying attention. Irene, I appreciate you. You're doing amazing. Stay the course. So the fact here is this is it. This is it for today. So the dare for today is you need to ask 4 questions to identify the gap with someone. And some of you may turn around and start converting people by doing this dare. Okay? So that's the assignment. Now, if some of you are a little bit more techie savvy and you know how to use eCam, like what we're using here, let me point at you instead. Using Zooms to do interviews. You can actually use eCam in conjunction with Zooms, and there's other tools in eCam. I just love eCam. I find it super, super user-friendly. But the fact here is that, and by the way, there's a free version and a paid version, but to be able to do a live and to do a lot of high res, I think you can do a live without using the free version, but using the paid version, and it opens up a whole gate of new things. So that was a FYI. By the way, I don't get compensated for that. I just love the tool. So, So the other thing is, for those of you that are a bit more tech savvy, is to do an interview, maybe through a video session, and asking those questions, and record the session. And here's the thing: come back into this group and share the results that you got, the experience you have. Maybe take a picture if you happen to be on a Zoom and you're talking to someone, or if you're doing it face to face, take your picture together. And on your comment, put the 4 questions and maybe your experience on the answers around these 4 questions. That is your dare. Are you willing to do this? So, folks, that's the end for today. That's all there is to it. And just to show you again, it's really straightforward. Let me show you here, right? It's really straightforward. Okay, these are all the notes that I took. This is exactly what I talked to you about, right? And this is what I really appreciate on the way Fraser shares. So it's really easy. It's a great assignment, and I highly recommend for you to try this. Okay, don't procrastinate on this one. This is one that you don't want to avoid because that is how we do business. This is part of doing business. So, folks, it was a real pleasure. Thank you for attending today. I hope that you're going to go through the assignment to the there, and I look forward to Tammy's session tomorrow on Friday. And next week, it's going to start with Webmaster on Monday, and it's going to be Ann Turnbull. It's going to be on Tuesdays. On Wednesday, it's going to be Dr. James. And on Thursday, it'll be me. And on Friday, it'll be back to Tammy. So we're doing this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, Fridays, every single week. Take advantage of this, folks. People are paying a lot of money to learn this stuff, and we're bringing you this stuff for free. Please take advantage of this information. Have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon, everybody. And bye for now.